Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Krusty back with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made roughly $22,000 within just the time span of 24 hours. But before we actually get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below so that way you guys can see any and all future videos just like this one, any tips and tricks when it comes to trading at all. And be sure to leave a like down below as well so that way I know that this video did help you out. And go ahead and comment down below what next video idea I should go ahead and upload. Now, without any further ado, let's get straight into the breakdown. The pairs that I traded for this specific trade setup was GU and GJ. And let me go ahead and just pull up the profits that I made that day. Roughly about $22,000. I don't know if it's going to focus in, but all you see is literal blues on there. You guys can go ahead and pause the screen if you want to. But there it is. We have GJ and GU. We have multiple entries on GU, and we just have a single entry on GJ. So let's just go ahead and just go with the single entry on GJ, just because of the fact that this one was just so clean and crispy to get into. And then I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking at for tonight. So let me just go ahead and just move this. Actually, no, I'm going to keep that there because I have my sell limits there already. But now moving on to basically the trade from the other day, I saw price at this specific level right here. So I was waiting for price to give me some sort of a retest of my weekly level all the way up here. So with that being said, I was in some sort of a bullish state of mind just because of the fact that if you look back at previous history and looking into our daily time frame, you see price struggling to close above my weekly level. And looking back at previous history, what does price typically do at this level? It literally sells so hard. You can see price tap this level, it sells. Taps this level, it sells. Taps this level, it sells. Taps this level, it sells. And then price struggled to close above the previous weekly candlestick. So that was telling me I need to take sells as soon as I possibly can when I get confirmation. So now looking into the weekly, I wanted to take sells. Scaling in onto the daily time frame, I saw price was struggling to close above the highs of this specific candlestick right here. We have a wick to the upside right there, and price struggled to basically even break that high for a wick. Not only that, but price obviously struggled to close above this general area right here. So that was showing me that selling pressure was starting to come into play within this trade setup. So the next thing that I was really waiting for was for some sort of a structural lower high, lower low, some sort of a break in structure, right? So looking at price action right now, price was in a very strong bullish run, making higher highs, higher lows, and then we start to consolidate a little bit. No clear structure in direction quite yet. Some people could have gotten faked out within this sell right here, or they could have gotten in on this 4-hour bullish engulfing, or I mean bearish engulfing right here, set their stops right above that structural level, and just targeted a simple setup all the way down to there to that specific support level, making you about a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio, which is pretty decent. Now, looking back into that, I didn't want to take it just because of the fact that it wasn't so clean as I wanted it to be compared to where it is now. So looking at where price is at right here, we're consolidating, and I saw price make this specific structural level right here, and this was a start of where price was going to go. So after I saw price struggle to close above this candlestick right here, the body, and not only that, but it struggled to close or make a wick above this level, I knew it was time to go ahead and take a sell position whenever I saw some sort of a structural lower high and lower low alongside with confirmation. So after it made this high, it made this new lower high. And what did price do at this point? It broke this lower low with this impulsive movement right here. So the next thing that I was waiting for was number one, I was waiting for some sort of a Fibonacci retracement. So looking back at where price is at now, I want to take an entry at this weekly level right here. And not only that, but you can see you have some sort of a support, some sort of a resistance within this general area. You see price, support, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, support, support. A lot of sloppiness within that general area, but it's support and resistance, right? So the next thing that I was waiting for was price literally just to give me something like this, a retest of this specific structural level, and then a continuation after that. So I was doing a fib play beyond this point. And why isn't my replay tool going? So price basically melted below this point, and it started to give us some sort of a little bit of a retracement right here. I did not want to FOMO into this trade setup just because of the fact that I knew price was going to give me a retracement of some sort sometime soon. And I knew if price wasn't going to give me that retracement, I wanted for price to break below this general area right here, give me a retest, so then I can get in on the retest of previous support to then act as resistance to then continue on with the melt. So it was either price gets back to my weekly level up here, or price continues and gives me a retest of this general area to then continue for sells. Until then, I was not going to do absolutely anything within the trade setup. You guys want to remember, you want to trade, you want to plan your trade and trade your plan. So that way you don't get into any FOMO, you don't get into any basically just forcing a trade in general, because if you're trading your plan, then obviously you're not forcing any trade. So at this point, I saw price was giving me some sort of a head and shoulders pattern. And not only that, but looking into our hourly, we closed above this structural level right here of a high. So after I saw that, I knew it was time to draw out my Fibonacci tool from my swing high point to my swing low point right here on the 4-hour time frame. So all the way up here to all the way down here, we have my swing high to my swing low. So at this point, I was waiting for price to basically give me a good retracement. So I set a sell limit in between my 50 and my 61.8, and I set my stops right above my 78.6% extension, because as you guys know, the bigger the retracement, the closer it gets to 78%, the weaker the trend is. So at this point, I knew if I was to get stopped out right here, price was more than likely going to break above these highs. And if price did that, all I was going to wait for was a retest of this structural level right here to then continue on for longs. But until then, I was only short biased. So what did I wait for? I just had my sell limit set right there. We didn't get tapped in quite yet. A lot of people are getting in for buys right now, because what do you see right here? You see some sort of an inverse head and shoulder. You can see the left shoulder right here. You can see the neckline, and you can see the right shoulder. So what is price doing right here? People are more than likely taking their buy positions right here, setting their stops below this structural level and setting their TPs all the way up above that candlestick, targeting a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So after price did that, boom, they got their take profit smashed. I got my entry tapped in. What did price do soon after this? It literally just fucking nutted straight to the downside. We had very minimal drawdown within this setup right here, and it literally gave me all 180 pips. My ultimate target was all the way down here, but I liked the profits that I was at, and I was expecting some sort of retracement. So I was like, I don't want to leave these profits on the table. I don't want to get stopped out at break even. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to plan my next trade setup and trade my plan setup, right? So my plan setup now is literally, I'm just waiting for some sort of a retracement back up to this structural level right here where I have this, because if you look back at previous history, what do you see? Support. You see some sort of sloppy support, resistance, support, resistance, support. So what am I waiting for? Like I said, price to just tap previous support to then act as resistance to then continue back on with the trend. Right now, it is barely 9:13. We're still about 4 or 5 hours away from London session. So I do not want to get in on an entry right now, just because of the fact that, excuse me, I know GJ likes to move a lot within London. Throughout Asian session, it makes some sort of a move and then it corrects right after. It'll probably, let's just say, melt during Asian session. It'll correct during London session, and then it will continue on within New York or something of that sort. That's one thing I noticed about GJ. So I know a lot of people are probably getting in for sells right here. It could sell off. If I miss it, I miss it. Like I said, the next thing that I'm going to wait for is for price to give me a break, a retest, and then continuation. If not, then I'm going to take an entry right here. I already have my sell limit set based off of my Fibonacci. Overall, one of the confluences that I have is break and retest. Number 2, we have our Fibonacci. Number 3, looking into the bigger time frames, what do you see? You see this weekly level of resistance right there. Not only that, but you have some sort of a shift in structure within the lower time frame, showing you a downtrending structure. So that's 4 confluences just right off the rip right there. I do not take any trades unless I have 4 confluences set in stone. So that's the entire GJ breakdown. It's as simple as that. Made about a 1 to 2 risk reward setup on this. Like I said, overall targets was down here, but I just did not want to leave any profits on the table. I didn't want to risk price basically reversing on me. If you're happy with the profits that you made, why are you going to give it back to the market, right? That's stupid. There's no point. Now, looking into GU, let's look at GU where price is currently at now. So let's just go ahead and come all the way back to here where price was in a very strong bullish run right here. And we're going to go ahead and just start off with the bigger time frame. So looking into the bigger time frame, the main confluence that I had right here was this shooting star. I think it's called a shooting star. I don't know what it's called. Pin bar. If you guys have read Candlestick Bible, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I saw this variation right here at a major psychological level of 1.37500. So this was telling me that I need to get in a short position as soon as I have a retracement on my lower time frames. And not only that, but looking into structure, what do you see? You see a lower high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and now we're just getting in on a retracement on the lower high. And notice how price came back to our psychological level, retesting previous support, now acting as a resistance. We have that candlestick print, and look at that. You see support, 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 resistance, 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 so on and so forth. So that was my main entry point. So that's two confluences that I just showed you off the rip: structure and this candlestick variation right here. So looking into the 4-hour time frame, what was I waiting for? I was waiting for some sort of a triple top, double top, some sort of a break in structure within the lower time frames, because as you can tell, we are extremely bullish where price is at right now. So looking into this, I saw price came all the way up to there, tapped it. I was not looking for any entries at all. I saw a little bit of a doji print. I could have very easily got in for a sell position right here, but why do I want to sell right there when I can expect another another retracement? If price did not give me some sort of retracement all the way back up here on the lower time frames, it's literally just as simple as a continuation break, retest, and then continue on. So it's either or, either or. So looking into what price is doing right now, we are at some sort of a support. That's why I have this line drawn out. We are some sort of a minor support level. So support, 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 resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, so on and so forth, right? Looking at where price is at, we did not close below. So I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to anticipate the retracement. So looking into my 1-hour time frame, what am I doing? I'm going to draw out my Fibonacci tool after it breaks this trend line, because I didn't quite see this trend line yet because of the fact that obviously price isn't at that point. Looking into my 30-minute, you see price is riding this trend line. I got in as soon as we had a break in this trend line. And not only that, but if I jot out my Fibonacci from my swing high to my swing low point, where are we at? We are at my 61.8% extension. I was not looking to take buys until after we cracked above this level. So what am I waiting for? We have a little bit more rejection. We tap our 78.6 and we rejected. I think this is as soon as I took my entry right around this general area. I saw this bearish candlestick print right here. And soon after, price just fucking ripped down, straight down. Actually, no, I lied. We had a little bit of drawdown, but we had a retest of the previous trend line, right? But I was completely fine with that, just because obviously whenever trend lines break, you always want to look for the retest to get in. So after we had just a little bit of drawdown within this general trade setup, this is whenever we fucking nut straight to the downside, right? Straight down to the downside. And I called this trade out in my signals room, as you can tell right here. Scrolling up into the signal room, we've been absolutely fucking slaughtering the markets this entire month of January. You can see we have just a couple losses right here coming down all the way to here. Week 3, I literally just updated it, scrolling all the way down. You can see last week we literally went completely profitable. Sundays I'll sometimes call trades, sometimes I won't, but overall we're about 15% in profit within just the past 2.5 weeks alone. We're barely starting week 3 at the time I'm recording this. It is what's the day? Tuesday night of week 3 of January, right? So we've been absolutely fucking killing it in there. I call every single trade that I take. And anyways, continuing on with the trade setup, I did take a scale-in entry where price gave me some sort of a retracement. I think it was right around at this general area right here. I don't think it was there. I deleted my position, so let me just continue. I know it was a break and retest point. I think it was right above here where I had my initial entry, my second entry right here. I know it was a wicked entry as well because I based it off of my Fibonacci. So swing high to my swing low point, and it was right around my 50%. So right around this general area. No, we didn't get filled in. So then after this, I saw the continuation, and then that's whenever I got in. So I had a retest somewhere around this general area. Where was it? Right here. So that was the retest that I got in right there. You can see price broke below structural level of support, and then we continued to basically reject that level right there. So that was the point that I took my initial entry right there. I drew out my Fibonacci on my lower time frame. So for my swing low to my swing high, swing low, and then right around this general area, and we targeted all the way down to right here, because that's whenever I was content with my profits. I didn't want to leave any profits on the table. And this one was an entry that I had very minimal drawdown on. Actually, I took profit right here. Wait. It was somewhere around here. Where did I take profit? Let me see. Where's price at now? It's basically where price is at now. So it was right around this black line right here. So that is a general area where I did take my profit. I'm trying to think. Hold on. Let me see my phone. Where did I close? So I closed my entry at 878. So 878, 878. So all the way down here is where I closed my entry right now. I thought I closed it up here, but it was my next zone. So I closed it all the way down here. The first scale in entry right here was an initial 1 to 3. I'm waiting for some sort of retracement, like I mentioned, on this specific trade setup. Right back up to this general area. Can I delete this? Right back up to this general area right here to then continue back on, because what do you see right here with what price is doing? We busted below this general area. So looking back at previous history, what do you see? Some sort of resistance, resistance, support, resistance, resistance. So what is the probability that after price breaks this zone to give us a retest right here to then continue back on with the trend? That's all I'm waiting for. It is very simplistic when it comes to my trading setups. So continuing on with that, the first setup I did catch a 1 to 7 risk reward ratio. My second one I did catch about a 1 to almost a 1 to 6 risk reward ratio. This was my initial entry. I don't know why I didn't notice this. I thought I was looking at GJ for some reason because I had this one right here, and yeah, it just threw me off. But anyways, this was my entry right here. Like I said, complete simple weekend entry, Fibonacci, continuation pattern, break and retest, 4 confluences just right off the rip. Very simplistic setups that I like to take. Now, that is basically the entire breakdown as a whole as to how I made about $22,000 within just 24 hours. I did swing this overnight, held it throughout the day, and then later at night, it hit during New York session this morning, Tuesday morning. So anyways, with all that being said and done, if you guys did enjoy this video and it did help you out in any way, shape, or form, be sure to subscribe down below, like I mentioned earlier, so that that way you guys can see any and all future videos related to this one. And alongside with that, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below so that way I know I'm helping you guys out the best way that I possibly can. And leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about this breakdown video. And aside from that, if you guys want to plug in on my free Discord, I have it linked down below. I have my signal room link down below, all of that stuff. Check out the description. And aside from that, I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have a blessed fucking day. Let's get it.